Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning out there? Are you alive? Are you awake? Yes. Okay, well, very good. Good. I am Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the Community Spiritual Leader here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I am delighted to welcome you, and for all this busyness that's still going on, I just want to let you know that whoever you are, wherever you may be on your pathway and your journey of faith, you're welcome here. We're delighted you're here with us this morning. Now, we have a very special musician this morning, so before I actually have you stand up, I want to introduce to you a friend of ours who's been with us before and is back this morning. This is Daniel Nahmod. And Daniel has performed his heart-opening, inspirational, original music for over 1 million people in 45 states and Canada, and has sold over 110,000 CDs. That's a lot of CDs. His songs have been recorded and performed all over the world. He was a keynote performer at the Parliament of World Religions in 2018 in Toronto, and he's been featured in cable and radio broadcasts in more than 90 countries. And it benefits for Habitat for Humanity, Operation USA Achievable, and the Anti-Defamation League. He's also played music for basically all of the world's major religions in their various facilities, and has worked with some of the most influential and brilliant speakers of our time, including Jean Houston, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, and lots of other folks as well. So he is going to teach us our opening song this morning because he's zooming in from wherever he is this morning. And so we're going to stand, and midway through, he's going to direct you to go and say good morning to each other. So when he says come back, because we're going to sing the last verse. So please stand and welcome Daniel Nahmod.
Hello, everybody. The real question is whether I know where I am, because you may not know where I am, but I'm in a little bit of a fog too. I'm sorry. I'm in Orange County. So
Right.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Let's sing this song together. I think you'll find it pretty easy to figure out, and I hope you enjoy. Nice to be here.
Be brave and jump in.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Must sing that? I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. All right, go ahead and if you're there in person,
Go around and say good morning to each other. And those of you that are together online, say hello and greet those that are around you. Give them a hug. Welcome, everybody. If you can comment in the chat, let us know that you're there and where you're watching from this morning, because we know your soul is welcome here.
I'm in the right place.
Come on back, everybody. Come on back.
I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be.
Come on back.
Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. One more time. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Woo, let's give them a hand.
Go.
And give ourselves a hand. Thank you, thank you. You may be seated, and please go ahead and silence your cell phone right now. You don't have to turn it off. Just silence it so you get the vibration. If you need to respond, of course, you can go out. I just want to remind you that the heat is a little funny today on this side of the room. So if you tend to run warm, you might want to sit over there. If not, you might want to sit over here. At home, you can stay right where you are. And so let's go ahead and begin to move into the center now. Our morning practitioner, Lesley Gianetti, is going to pray us in just a moment. And Daniel is going to take us right now into the centering music. So just turn within.
All right, here we go. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Want to sing that with me? I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is sacred love. Let's sing that. Inside there is peace. Inside there is peace, joy. Inside there is joy, more than enough. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy, sacred love. Inside there is sacred love. Inside there is sacred love.
Inside there is sacred love. Oh, as I open to the most powerful presence of the infinite life, which is love, the all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent one, pours itself through the past, the present, and the future. And moving upon itself, it creates out of itself It is the one and only indwelling presence in the planet Earth and the solar system and the universe. And it is the power that recreates everything out of itself. It recreates everything new, every moment by moment by moment. Each one is made new. And so I speak my word for myself and for each one, and I claim an opening in consciousness for a deep and resonant realization of the infinite life as the magnificent all in all. And the result of this is a conscious awareness of the life within, which is always unifying itself to each one for absolute fulfillment. For each one is a vessel for the wholeness and the completeness, which is always seeking greater self-expression. And in this self-expression is the deepest realization of one life. There is nowhere where the infinite life is not operating. Even in this moment, even in this room, the allness of the infinite life is seeking new ways to express in thought and in deed. And as each one opens to this and realizes that within them is all the power of the universe, it is love in action, always giving of itself, giving unconditionally, and giving something new for a new beginning in its wholeness and its peace and its love. For love is the power that creates and also the power that eliminates anything unlike itself. So accepting this new love, this new way of being, is accepting the wholeness of the infinite life in its perfection. And in its perfection is oneness expressed. So I celebrate the oneness within each one right now. And I celebrate the life within each one, which is always calling them forward to something new and beautiful. And I give thanksgiving for the opening in consciousness, which allows for deepest fulfillment and unity consciousness. And I release my word to the law of mind, which accepts my word as a brand new creation ready to be made manifest now for the greater good of all. And so it is. Amen.
I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God. When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? That the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. But still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment, I remember it comes so clear to me that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I could be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Oh, I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go. God knows. God knows. God knows.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you, Daniel. Oh, very pleased to have him with us this morning. Let's give him another hand. That was just great. Yeah, yay, Daniel. All right. So now that we're in the new year, we're looking at living from the heart of wonder, which is a theme I really like, because one of the things that I find myself doing as an idea person who's always in my head and gets really curious is wonder at things. You know, I wonder how this happens, or I wonder how that works, or I wonder where that came from. I'm not necessarily looking for an answer. I'm just enjoying entering into the wondering. Does that make sense? Yes? So this morning, one of the things I wanted to tell you about was the wondering of a small child. A woman tells a story. She says, my daughter decided to change her hair color, but she was very unhappy with the result, so that there was not anyone who did not know how unhappy she was with the result. And not too long after that happened, she fell in the garage and got a nasty cut under her nose. So she had to go to the clinic to get stitches, and she took her 5-year-old daughter, Megan, with her. And then after the doctor had sutured the wound, she asked her daughter how it looked. And Megan really pondered for a while, and then she said confidently, "Mama, when you see your nose, you won't mind so much about your hair." Yes, wondering, how is this going to go? Well, that's how it went. You won't mind so much about your hair. Yeah. Aren't there days like that where you kind of get a, what do you call it, a wake-up call in the moment where you realize that something you were really upset about is kind of minor compared to, yes? We suddenly discover it puts things into perspective for us. So this month, I'm speaking about the idea that spiritual substance is everywhere. Spiritual substance is everywhere. And I need to say something about the word substance, first of all, because most of the time we consider substance to be actual material something or other. That which something is made of, is a substance. But in the Bible, where it says, now, faith is the substance of things seen, as it was the substance of things, I don't know the rest of it, I can't remember now. The substance, faith is the substance of things seen, as it was once the substance of things which do appear, something like that. So the substance of things seen. In Greek, the word is, and I'm butchering this, I'm sure, hypostasis, and it's translated as substance, which means that which underlies the apparent, that which is the basis of something. So assurance, guarantee, confidence, or in the English, it comes from a word which means to stand under, substance. So we're talking about actually at the foundation of everything. So when I say that spiritual substance is everywhere, I'm not just talking about manifestations. I'm talking about the energy, the foundation, the idea, the raw material behind what is seen. So when we're talking about spiritual substance, we're talking about the availability everywhere at every moment, the full and complete availability of all of that intelligence, energy, love that everything is made of. So in every square centimeter of space around and within us is the fullness not only of divine presence and creative law, but that out of which everything is made. So we would say that is the energy or presence or spirit of the mystery, the divine, the universe, God, infinite intelligence, Fred, whatever you want to call it, right? And so once we understand that that's the substance that we're talking about, then I want to take a look at this morning's theme, which is, if you thought it, you can unthink it. So here's a fellow that's joyfully reconsidering. And the word repent means think again. Take another look, think again. So we are realizing that what we have thought about, what we have dwelt upon, has come to some degree into our experience. And because that's so, we can also put our attention on the reverse of that thought and erase that and bring about something else. This is how creative law needs to function for us. So I've often said, when we look at the sky at night and we see the stars, we're actually looking at the past. The light that we're looking at has taken however many light years to get to us, and its original source may have already changed. Its light may have diminished or gotten brighter. The star may have gone into supernova or whatever they do. And we are receiving, from however great the distance, the light from what was. We're looking at what was, not necessarily what is in the life of those stars right now. So when we look at our lives as they are right now, we're also looking at the past. Yes, it's a present experience, but what we're witnessing is what we've been dwelling on, what we've been thinking about, what we've been believing about life, ourselves, other people, the world, our jobs, whatever it is. We're experiencing looking at, feeling, experiencing what we have thought. And we have a choice about that because those thoughts become our habits, they become our patterns, so they're so easy to repeat again and again. But if what we're looking at is not to our liking, then we have the opportunity to think again, to recognize, to recognize a deeper truth. Ernest Holmes, our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, wrote in The Science of Mind, "Things are ideas in form." What else could they be? There is nothing from which to make things except ideas. So everything that we look at, everything that we've seen has been created twice, once in mind and once in form. It starts in mind first. And that's true for even little tiny things that we recognize. If you look at a forest, there are things that you zero in on and really notice. But you could walk that forest every single day, and one day you notice something and think that it's brand new, and yet looking at it, you can tell that it's been there. You've just never noticed it before. So as we can shift our attention to notice something new, we can choose to do that, and also to pay less attention or notice less something that's been bothering us or been upsetting to us. We can decide not to give it quite so much attention. That doesn't mean in terms of health or relationships where there are problems that we don't deal with them, but we stop dwelling on them in the moments when we're not dealing with them, when we're not taking care of them in some way. Ernest Holmes talks about the possibility of reversing the effects of things that we have thought in the past or believed in the past, and what happens when we immediately begin to put in an opposite thought or idea. He says, and this is from Love and Law, which were the teachings that he was giving from 1918 to 1920. He said, "We send out the word, and it sets in motion the power." So the word is our thought, our belief, and the power that it sets into motion is that creative law. And then he says, but if we begin to think the opposite thing, it gets the word as soon as it is thought. In other words, the power catches that new thought right away, and it neutralizes the word and destroys any possibility of its effects. Now, this is both positive and negative, so we have a double-edged sword here. When we shift a negative thought or belief, immediately the creative law gets a hold of it. But if that's momentary and we go back to dwelling on negativity, the law will simply wipe that one out and go back to creating what it was doing. On the positive side, if we choose something new and we really start to focus on that instead, the creative law abandons the old belief and begins to work to produce the new one. So we'll notice the effects of the old one begin to fade as we stop indulging in it or entertaining that thought or belief. Those effects begin to fade in our life. Now, because they have been a part of our consciousness, they have established certain patterns in the physical brain which don't ever completely go away. This is why people who have quit smoking 4 times might still have to quit again, because not only do we have the physical body that responds to that, but the mind that responds to the habit patterns that are involved in the physicality of smoking, and those are just as hard to break. So the brain will retain some slight reference to that past, and we can call that negative back into our experience if we begin to go back to it. We can backslide. Has anybody in here ever found that you've backslid on anything? Anything you've said, I'll never do that again, right? That's a phrase I try to avoid, because usually if I say, even just to myself, I will never do that again, it's like the next thing I do. And St. Paul says this in one of his letters. He says, I hate this thing, I don't want to do this thing, it's not me, and yet I do it again. And so that's kind of the frustration and also the growth edge of being a human being. That in the opportunity to choose to backslide, because when we do backslide, it's always a choice. It's like Yeah, I've been really, really good. And I actually am going to eat that extra cookie. I'm just going to do it, and I don't care. I'm just going to do it. And we're back in the race again. So, and that's not to say that you can't do that. A little bit of backsliding, it's just we've got to indulge ourselves from time to time. But at the same time, this is the thing. We reinitiate that old path, that old pattern. And so then we have to be mindful of that. When we initiate a new pattern, we want to make it so strong that it's easy to default to the new pattern. And that can take a few months. That can take a while of real persistence. And I know that you've done that, or you wouldn't even be here. Thich Nhat Hanh, the wonderful Buddhist teacher who made his transition in January. And you can see that the altar is dedicated really to him in part. There's a lovely photo of him up here in the later part of his life holding a flower. I invite you to come up and see that a little bit later on. In How to Love, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, "The first element of true love is loving kindness. The essence of loving kindness is being able to offer happiness. You can be the sunshine for another person. You can't offer happiness until you have it for yourself. So build a home inside by accepting yourself and learning to love and heal yourself. Learn how to practice mindfulness in such a way you can create moments of happiness and joy for your own nourishment. Then you have something to offer the other person." So Thich Nhat Hanh is talking about freedom. He's talking about setting ourselves free. And the way that we do that, in part, is by self-compassion and forgiveness. We forgive ourselves and we forgive other people, both, for mistakes that we've made. I can think back over my life as a minister, and there are a few sticky moments I can point to that I regret. I regret something I said flippantly when I should have been more mindful or serious about what I said. I think about something I might have said or done without thinking it through that caused somebody else discomfort, and I regret that. And I'm guessing I'm not the only one here who has some regrets. But in the process of noticing those, I have to let them go and recognize that was then, and this is now. And in the this is now, I can be more skilled, more mindful, more aware, more of the time, hopefully, and make better choices. So I have to turn over to God, really, that which was done before, whatever effects it had, and let myself off the hook and bless the other person or people or whatever for the highest and greatest good. And when I do that, when I offer myself forgiveness and compassion, then I'm able to let go a little bit and return to neutral. When and this is true I think of all of us, when we are in a place where we are unforgiving toward ourselves or toward someone else, it's as if in our energy, in our being, in our consciousness, there's a little tiny drain that's open all the time. And it's drip, drip, dripping our energy away from us. It's draining our creativity and our energy in our presence because it's something that is holding us to a negative. And so to return to neutral means to turn that spigot off, to instead work with it so we can come to a place where we can look upon it without feeling resentful or without feeling guilty, and instead turn it over to God. That was a learning experience for me, maybe for the other person. I don't know how it was meant to serve them, because if it happened between us, it was there to serve us in some fashion, not to let myself off the hook, but to offer self-compassion and forgiveness. That was not done in the best way I could have done it. I'm sorry I did it that way. And onward, letting it rest. So when I begin to feel neutral about that, so that I don't feel self-critical, ashamed, embarrassed, guilty. Can you relate to any of these feelings? Then I begin to move back into neutral, where I'm not running that drain all the time. Spending time in guilt or embarrassment or shame or unforgiveness toward ourselves because we think we're holding ourselves accountable, it doesn't make us better people. It just makes us more closed off and less available. So we have to be able to bring that same compassion home to ourselves and stop waiting and hoping and pausing before we let go. Sometimes we want to explain to the other person why we did what we did. They don't care why we did what we did. They just want us to say we're sorry. Sometimes we're waiting for somebody else to apologize to us, but that's not going to happen, or to make amends, to really understand the level at which they hurt us. We want them to get it. That may never happen. So meanwhile, we're waiting to let it go. And we're the ones that are experiencing the drain in our consciousness, not the other person. Who knows what's happening with them? So when we're waiting for that, we're withholding from ourselves that kind of self-compassion that we actually need to get on with our lives. So when we move toward compassion, it means that we're entering into that kind of deeper forgiveness. You know, in the Beatitudes, Jesus is reported to have said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be given mercy." In other words, when we are merciful to ourselves and to someone else, we open up the feeling of being set free. That is the level at which we experience or are shown mercy. Because the universe, God, has no desire to punish us. It wouldn't even know how. It only sees the wholeness that we are. And it sees our doubt as just a passing shadow, because it isn't real anyway. It's nothing to get all wound up about from the perspective of the infinite. So the merciful experience mercy because they also give it to themselves. That's where the mercy needs to come from, not from God, who was never offended to begin with. Does this make sense? Yes? So forgiveness, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, who was one of the original ministers with Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, was quite a direct fellow. And he wrote something called The Science of Forgiveness, which was reprinted in the Science of Mind magazine in 1952. And these sentences are a few excerpts from that little article. He said, "Forgiveness is spiritual life insurance. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. If you hate anyone, you are disliking a part of yourself. Within you is the capacity to look out at your world through your own state of consciousness and see it as good." And that's the change I'm talking about. That what we see on the outside, we think is presenting information to us, but actually we're projecting information onto it. It does not have a meaning in and of itself, except that we are putting one on it as we view it. So we could choose to look upon everything and look for that heart of goodness that is the essence of what it is, because the presence of God sees that and knows that the rest is just passing show. Doesn't mean we can't intervene to make things better, but that we bring our vision, our view back again and again to the truth, to the wholeness. Joan Borisenko said once, "The process of making sense of our wounds is a very personal one. But a common theme in wound healing is the universal need to forgive. If we don't forgive ourselves for our own mistakes and others for the wounds they've inflicted upon us, we end up crippled with guilt. And the soul cannot grow under a blanket of guilt, because guilt is isolating, while growth is a gradual process of reconnection to ourselves, to other people, and to a larger whole." So when we open into that forgiveness, what we find is a huge inflow of compassion for our humanness, for the ways in which we make mistakes. That's what happens with human beings. We make mistakes. And I'm not altogether sure that that isn't one reason that we're here. So the soul can experience things and go, ah, I understand. I understand now something about why that doesn't work. I also understand something about what does work. And so the soul can celebrate that step in its understanding, in its growth. So what we have with compassion is responsive care. We have the care that recognizes that something is needed that we can offer, and we offer it. So there are two pieces to it. There's the awareness, and there's the response, the responsive caring. And it is, of course, then given toward others and toward ourselves. And it is both sensitive to how it is given and to the interaction of how it is being received and accepted. So it is interactive. It's not just us doing something for somebody else. Daisaku Ikeda, who is a Japanese Buddhist philosopher, said, humanity's collective mission in the cosmos lies in the practice of compassion. Humanity's collective mission in the cosmos lies in the practice of compassion. So as we recognize our humanness and we have compassion for each other's short-sightedness or unskilled behavior or smallness of mind sometimes or heart, then we bring forward the sense of compassion, of recognizing ourselves there too. Yes, and me too. Yes, and me too. That also is me. That's an aspect of me also. And having compassion for it, even when we see it and know that's one part of ourselves that we like the least, and so we do not want it reflected back to us by somebody else. Sometimes this happens with our children, whether they're small or they're adults. They reflect back to us some aspect of ourselves, and we really don't like that. It's that do as I say, not as I do kind of thing, you know. We see them living out some part of a mistake that we already did, and we know that probably is not going to go well. And when we try to get into the middle of it, it does not go well, because every soul is on their own path. So we can have compassion for that choice that they have to make for themselves, just like we felt that we had to, and have compassion for it. Norman Cousins, the American author and professor and peace advocate, said the individual is capable of both great compassion and great indifference. He has it within his means to nourish the former and to outgrow the latter. During the time the genocide was happening in Rwanda, in the movie about the Hotel Rwanda, there was a scene in which a reporter was having a conversation with the general manager of the hotel. And it was important to the general manager of the hotel that the world find out what was happening in Rwanda, this genocide. And he said to the reporter, surely when people know about this, there will be interventions to help. And the reporter said to him something like, I'd like to think that that's true, but they'll all be watching this while they're eating their dinner at the evening news, and they will turn to one another and exclaim about how horrible it is, and then they'll just go on to dessert. This idea is so natural to us as human beings. It's a part of our place of being overwhelmed and having compassion exhaustion sometimes with elements of information that come to us that seem too big for us to make an impact on. And so we have to set them aside, or we feel like we do. In those moments, perhaps there is something small, some action we can take that, like the butterfly's wings flapping on one side of the world, may carry out an effect that we can't even imagine. Just in the moment that we offer a prayer, or we decide to send a donation to some organization that's helping, or we look to find out more information to share about it with others. The tiniest thing that we can do to initiate our compassion, lifts us out of that indifference, and also allows us to feel less hopeless in the face of things that are going on that we don't feel we have any control over. So, when we offer prayer, then, the important thing in the way that we pray in the science of mind is to know that what we're praying for is an internal shift in ourselves. So when we pray for a circumstance or a situation out in the world that is horrifying, upsetting, or difficult for us, what we do is we move ourselves inwardly in the prayer into the place where that is being resolved. We lean into the sense of peacefulness and harmony and resolution. We don't know how to bring that about, but we do know what it feels like. We have tasted that inside ourselves. So in the prayer, we do our work, we speak the word to move our inner experience to the place where we're immersed in that peace, that harmony, that resolution, and envisioning it and feeling it in that place, regardless of what's happening at the moment, and we align ourselves with it. So what we're doing in prayer is we are making a sincere embrace and welcome of an increased or increasing good. We do that for ourselves when we need prayer, or we ask a practitioner to do it for us, because sometimes praying for ourselves is the last thing we're actually capable of doing. And we do it when we pray for others, or when we pray for situations or places or circumstances. We use the prayer to move ourselves. And in that movement, we contribute something to the group consciousness of the world, perhaps of the universe, that makes an incremental change. And that may be all that's necessary from us. How many snowflakes does it take to create an avalanche? Who knows when that last snowflake falls that sets that into motion? The one snowflake did not do all the work. So, not to use snowflake pejoratively as it gets used now, but to recognize that sometimes we are the last little touch of consciousness that's needed to shift something. We don't know. We're not attached to being that one. That's not what we want to do with prayer. What we're attached to is moving ourselves with prayer. Because as we begin to transform, the power of that prayer is felt incrementally in the world. And wherever the world is ready to accept that prayer, it gets in. And if it is not ready, the prayer, in my imagination, hovers there and waits. It doesn't dissipate and disappear. It is present and available. Think of all the people who might ever have prayed for you in your lifetime. Whatever form of prayer it might have been, like, please fix my nephew. He belongs to some weird cult. You know, whatever the prayer might have been for you, the intention behind it is to wish you well, to hold good for you. And you can always extract the truth and goodness from that, no matter how they worded the prayer or what they thought it was for. So we always welcome prayer. And we too want to do the same thing inside ourselves with that kind of intention. Thich Nhat Hanh, since we're talking about him a little bit this morning and referring to him, wrote this wonderful poem. It happened at a time when he had heard that a number of Vietnamese boat people did not make it to the places they were going to for refuge because of sea pirates that would mount those little vessels and take over. And they would often harm or rape people on board those little boats. And he heard a story of a 12-year-old girl who had been raped by a sea pirate and threw herself into the ocean and committed suicide. And he was so upset with that He had to really sit with it until he could see that not only was he identifying with this little girl and her pain, but also within him was this same sea pirate, that this is true. We are all part of each other. We, as Mother Teresa says, we belong to one another. So he wrote this prayer: please call me by my true names. And Mariana and Stan Stefancic, who did this beautiful altar, have some copies of this up here if you want a copy of it after the service. This is what it says: do not say that I'll depart tomorrow, because even today I still arrive. Look deeply. I arrive in every second to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with wings still fragile, learning to sing in my nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and cry, in order to fear and hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all who are alive. I am the mayfly, metamorphosing on the surface of the water, and I am the bird which, when spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear pond, and I am also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands, and I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills the four oceans. Please, call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. He is recognizing that each of us carries all of us, and that all of us carry everyone, all the time, without exception. So everything we see, everyone who expresses on the planet, is another aspect of us, as we are of them. And on the good side, if there's hope for us, there's hope for them. If there's hope for them, there's hope for us. And so compassion is the bridge that allows that hope to be communicated through our prayer, through our thoughts, through our determination to look for the good that affects and changes the world incrementally as it changes us first, little by little on the inside. I want to tell you a little story here to wrap up. Johnny, a very bright 5-year-old, told his daddy that he'd like to have a baby brother. His dad, a very bright 35-year-old, paused for a moment and then replied, "I'll tell you what, son, if you pray every day for 2 months for a baby brother, I guarantee that God will give you one." Johnny was very enthused by his daddy's promise, and he went to his bedroom early that night to begin praying for a baby brother. And he prayed every night for 1 whole month. But after that, he began to get a little skeptical. He had checked around the neighborhood with his friends and found out that what he thought was going to happen had never occurred in the history of that neighborhood. You don't just pray for 2 months and then whammo, a new baby brother, his friends told him. So Johnny stopped praying. for a baby brother. And then, after another month, Johnny's mother went to the hospital. And when she came home, Johnny's parents called him into the bedroom. He came into the room not expecting anything. There was a small bundle lying next to his mother. His father pulled back the blanket to show him that there were 2 small bundles. His mother had had twin boys. Johnny's daddy smiled down at him and said, "Now, aren't you glad you prayed?" Johnny thought hard for a moment and then looked up at his dad and said, "Yes, I am. And I'm really glad I stopped when I did." Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says, "In words that heal today, if we wish to demonstrate that prayer or spiritual communion is a potent force, we must believe that both the energy and divine action are at our disposal, that the creative genius of the universe is already wherever we focus our attention." So just like little Johnny, who was actually set up by his dad, but nevertheless demonstrated the power of prayer in spite of himself, we too are demonstrating the power of prayer all the time. That's why our practitioners are in prayer during the service on Sunday morning, to create a space in consciousness for us all to be open and available and vulnerable to a greater truth. That's why we go to practitioners for prayer when we aren't clear about the good ourselves, because we're having so much trouble seeing through the confusion and the muck. That's why we hold to the truth and enter into prayer for others when they're going through difficulties, because maybe we can see it and feel it and claim it more easily for them than they can for themselves. So the power of prayer, its essence, its energy, grows for us out of forgiveness and compassion. And we must offer that to ourselves as well as to other people, so that we have more of it to come from when we are offering it to other people. So I want to invite you to stand now and join me in this morning's affirmation. So we'll say this together. I know that thoughts are things. I choose to up-level my thoughts to a higher vibration of truth. This brings more happiness and well-being into all areas of my life. Let's say it together one more time. I know that thoughts are things. I choose to up-level my thoughts to a higher vibration of truth. This brings more happiness and well-being into all areas of my life. That's great. You may be seated. Now, this is when we step into the sacred time of giving. But before we do that, we're going to anchor what we've just affirmed and what we've just talked about in prayer. So join me in consciousness right now. And imagine that your heart is opening and blossoming like a flower. And it is a most beautiful flower that has an eternally rejuvenating kind of energy to it. And it is vibrating love and compassion and forgiveness out into the world. You see, this is the divine presence. It is everywhere. And it lives within us as the essence of who and what we are. It is the substance out of which we're made. It is the substance out of which we create our lives. And so with this open-heartedness, we anchor this in consciousness to carry it forward into our day, to invite our hearts to continue to be open, to continue to be soft, to continue to be in that place of compassion and forgiveness. And in this way, to lift up our own experience of life and the world with love and gratitude. So we take this open heart, we see it, we feel it, we claim it for ourselves, for each other, for everyone watching or listening to this service anywhere today or in the coming days and weeks. And we let this prayer of our hearts go into the creative law. We let it go into that activity and power that says yes, and is on it immediately. We let it go and we reaffirm for ourselves throughout the day that yes, this open-hearted compassion, this is the truth of who we are and who we desire to be. So we let the prayer go to where the work is being done, and we simply let it be. We let it be so. We let it go, and we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, and so it is. I'd like to invite the ushers to come forward now as we prepare to receive the offering. And I want to remind you that if you want to do your offering via text this morning, you can go ahead and text the amount you want to give to 415-779-7613. And if you are giving physically by check this morning, we're going to bless those offerings in just a moment. If you give regularly, automatically, we're going to give our blessing also to those gifts that come in each week, regular as clockwork for people who do it that way. So we join together in doing our offering by saying this blessing together in unison. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. And so as the ushers receive the offering, we're going to turn our attention once again to the music of Daniel Nahmod.
Hello again. I have so many songs that come to mind from that beautiful talk. But I think I'm going to go to one of the more fundamental songs I've ever written, at least for my own personal beliefs about what I'm here for and what I'm here to say as a person and as a singer-songwriter. So I think I'm going to sing this song for you today. Hope you enjoy it. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings or heaven's door, but whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? The power of the love in you and me. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit or Jesus or Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul or it's your sign. universe. It's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. Freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. The sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby. The serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon. For it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, what we are is one. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me.
Mm. Woo! 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 Mm. Oh, that was wonderful. Okay, got a standing ovation there, Daniel. So we do now, all of us as one, together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, receive and accept this offering. We, together in consciousness, send it out into the world to do its work of healing and transformation everywhere that it goes, starting in this room with us. And so it is. All right. So if any of you are with us for the very first time this morning, we want to let you know how grateful we are that you decided to check us out and to be here with us. We'd like to see you often in the future. There are welcome packets on the back table back there. Amanda's standing next to the table. And inside there's a blue card. The welcome packets all say welcome, so you know. But you can also pick up anything on the table there. Those are all handouts. But this one, this blue card that says welcome, this is the golden ticket. Fill this out, give it to Amanda back there, and she will give you a copy of a little book that is our thank you to you for being here this morning. And hopefully that will be a tool that you can use, that little book, to assist you in shifting awareness when you need to do that. That's our thank you for being here and our enticement or invitation to come back and be with us again. Also, you can ask questions. Amanda probably knows the answer. So if she's at the table, you might be able to ask her a question. All right. And we want to especially this morning thank Daniel Nahmod again for the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful music. Fantastic. So great. And for all of those who made a difference this morning. Now, if you're sitting in a chair here, you made a difference. So first of all, thank you for being here with us this morning. It really is wonderful that you're here, you're masked, you're present, you're taking good care of yourselves, but you're with us. I'm grateful for that. Also, want to thank everybody that does setup, all of the practitioners that are here to pray, everybody that did hospitality and makes us welcome. And also, I want to thank the Stefansics for this wonderful altar and the copies of this prayer from Thich Nhat Hanh. Please come over and see this. And of course, Jim and William, who are always our stalwarts back here as well. Yeah. Now, Quick Start is coming up with Marilyn Letzos at the end of February, and Marilyn is here someplace this morning. There she is right in front of me. If she'd been any closer, she could have bit me. Talk to her if you have questions. You can register for this. It's a wonderful introduction to the philosophy for new folks. It's also a great anchoring reminder for the rest of us. It's 2 hours, it's free. You can make a love offering, that would be welcome. You can talk to Marilyn about it this morning, and you can sign up for it by emailing administrator@ggcsl.org. And then Sonia, our administrator, can send you the handouts so that you'll be prepared in advance for this lovely workshop. Also, we're inviting you to step into a volunteer opportunity that has to do with bringing good to the larger community. This is a volunteer work that we do monthly. We have one date coming up in each of the next 4 months where we're going to be working with the Marin Food Bank in San Rafael at their warehouse, where large amounts of foods get put into smaller containers to be shipped out to local outlets that are near people's homes. So these are for our neighbors who are food uncertain right now. We want to help them, and so you can sign up to participate in this. We need to let them know quite a while in advance for any one that's coming up. So the first one's coming up in March. You can sign up for one or all of them, any mix you want. But in order to sign up, you need to talk to Ellen Nicosia. You can email her, you can text her, make sure you give her your name, your email address, your phone number, and the dates that you want. Or you can just give that information to Ellen this morning. She's right here in the front. Look for Ellen. You can ask her questions about it and participate with those that have been doing that. You'll get to meet other volunteers and also get to know some of our folks even better. Also, our climate action tip for this week is stop buying those plastic single-use water bottles. There's so many. There's Sophie with a thermos over there right now with a stainless steel thermos on her head, just to demonstrate that a lot of that bottled water is just tap water anyway. You might as well fill it up yourself at home. Instead of having plastic, you'll have something you can reuse, and that helps. Now, my shoes that I'm wearing this morning are made from recycled plastic bottles. And I don't want to put them out of business, but I think there's enough plastic out there in the world already to keep them going for a long, long time. We don't need to contribute any more to it. So I invite you to replace what you're using with a stainless steel thermos instead. And now, I'm sorry, Arthur, we need to keep going. We're 15 minutes over. Come and talk to me afterwards, okay? Yeah. All right, so I want to invite the practitioners to surround the room as we prepare for the closing prayer and the benediction. All right. So, look around and notice that all these people in their shawls, in their what do you call them? Shawl? Is that what we call them? Stoles? That's the word. I knew they weren't shawls. That in their stoles. These are our licensed practitioners. They spend years preparing to be able to be an anchor in spiritual consciousness. So you can talk to any of them about prayer, and you can also come to the prayer table to receive prayer for yourself in the vein of what we're talking about this morning. If you're having trouble forgiving yourself, go talk to them. They can help you with prayer. So let's turn within now. I'm going to invite you to put your hands over your heart, to just with great gratitude breathe in. Remembering, as Daniel said, this presence is in the very air we breathe. It's us. It's what is breathing within us, and it is the air we're breathing. There is one presence, one power, one life. By many, many names, it is everywhere at every moment, always. It is not limited by space or time. It is 100% present right here, right now. The infinite power of the universe. What shall we request? What shall we plant in awareness in this consciousness? Let's plant compassion this morning for ourselves. Let's allow it to blossom through the action of the creative law. Let's plant forgiveness, letting ourselves off the hook. As Ernest Holmes said, refuse to carry the corpse of a mistaken yesterday. We let it go. And as we let it go, we know that creative law is acting within us, around us, and through us now to assist in this process of letting it go, where it is already done in the mind of God, already done within creative law. We surrender to it and let it do the work. Let it be so. Remember this choice and anchor it now with gratitude and peace. So we let the prayer go into the law. We let it be. With great celebration, together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join me now for the benediction, and then Daniel will be back to lead us through the closing song. So we join together in saying this benediction for our day and for our week and for our lives. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. And now we give it to Daniel for our closing song.
Well, are you sure you want to give it to Daniel? You know, I known to be extremely dangerous with an open mic. Anyway, all right. Yes, let's close with a song. I had it in the back of my mind to sing this with you to end the service, and actually, as the services unfolded, it felt more and more appropriate, really. So it's a song called "Love Is My Decision," and
we know this
I
one.
will give you the lyrics. You do? Okay, good.
We knew it a little bit. Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here we go. Thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. And it's a plug, but it's not a commercial plug. Just a simple invitation that I continue to do Facebook Live concerts every Monday night. So anybody who wants to join me, the price is right. Tickets are free. And it's at 6 p.m. California time every Monday night now for a year and 9 months, something like that. I've probably done 250 Facebook shows at this point. All kinds of different things. But if you want to join me, it's just Daniel Nahmod USA on Facebook. And if you don't care about Facebook, or don't belong to Facebook, or don't want to go anywhere near Facebook, I salute your good judgment. But you're invited anyway. You're invited, that's all. All right, here we go. One more song. All right, here we go. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. All right, here we go. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start, And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. All right, here we go. Second verse. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Just stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive, Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now, One more time, one more verse, here we go. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance dance down that road, to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load, can lighten my load. Once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. My decision right here and now. There you go. Thank you for singing with me. I appreciate it.